Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the Welcome to Belize webinar. If you've been with us before, at the bottom, we always like to see where you're logging in from. So find the Q&A and let us hear from you. Don't be shy. We're going to give everyone a few minutes to join us. And then, of course, we like to be respectful of everyone's time. So we'll give everyone just a couple of moments. Again, find the Q&A and let us know where you're logging in from. And there we go, James. We always like to see your name pop up. Great to have you on. You're in Belize City. Guess what? So am I. I just got over to Belize City, so welcome. Elizabeth, Spain. That's awesome. I love Spain. We've got Patricia from Canada, Gary from Chicago. Here they come. Tracy, Santa Barbara. Kevin, hello. It's great to see you online. Kansas City. Charlene from Alexandria. Ken from Scottsdale. Could go on and on. We've got, I see, Canada, Panama. Lots of California, several Belize City. I'm wondering if you're here for the Live and Invest overseas, possibly. Phoenix. So welcome to everyone. Let's jump in and get started and talk about Travel Belize. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background. I'm Leslie Lawrence. So I'm a property consultant with ECI. And I first came to Belize on a cruise ship, and I just tell people I don't really even count that experience because I barely left the port. I was traveling with my sister and my nieces and nephew, and they scared us a little bit into thinking we shouldn't take the kids out. So we had lunch at the port, and that was about it for my first Belize experience. And then years later, a few years back in 2018, I came on a lifestyle investment trip, had a wonderful experience like so many people. Began to think, how can I make the move? How can I move here and live a different life, the island life? And so I did a great journey. And so I love to share my experience with Belize. We're excited to talk more about it today. And I also have joining me is my co-host, Katie. Tell us about your Belize experience.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Leslie. Yeah, my name is Katie Ejikeme, and I'm a property consultant with ECI Development. Just like Leslie, I came down here on vacation for my first time. I'm currently located here on the island, Ambergris Key. And, I fell in love with the place. And when I left here, I had that vision of that's going to be my next location where I'm going to live. So I've been here for about a year, love the experience, and I'm really happy to be on the webinar today with everybody.
Awesome. Okay, so for all of you, we're just going to go through a few housekeeping kind of things. We like to introduce our leadership team. Of course, if you are familiar with ECI Development, you know our two co-founders, Michael Cobb and Joel Nagel. And as you see there, the rest of our leadership team. Our organization keeps growing. So we're excited to have our members, and we're continuing to grow. So it's very exciting. I've been on the island of Ambergris Key earlier this week. A lot of new team members that we've been welcoming. So it's an exciting time for sure. All right, and if you're not familiar with ECI, you're newer to our webinars and learning more about our company. We are a real estate developer, Central Latin America. We've been in the region for over 25 years. We really want to have something for everyone. We listen to our clients and what they're looking for. Of course, we're in the Caribbean, the Pacific. We have tropical highlands. Of course, the islands. We love our Ambergris Key location. We're currently Belize, Panama, Honduras, Nicaragua. So as you can see, we're continuing to grow. We adopted what's called the Proven the Del Webb model. And I was honest with people, I probably wouldn't have known what the Del Webb model was. However, my mom lives in Georgetown, Texas, where guess what? Sun City is, and that is the Del Webb model. So we're actually using that here in our region. Right, carry on. So we were established in 1996. ECI Development offers affordable luxury resident and resort communities in Central America. We provide our clients with various premier lifestyle options from the Caribbean to the Pacific. And I love this, our tagline, if you know us, ECI delivers inspired residences for adventurous souls. And I truly believe, especially for those that move to these locations, the expat life, I said we definitely, I think, have that common bond of those adventurous souls. So now we want to know, back to that Q&A button, find it. Have you been to Belize yet? A for yes and B for not yet. Let's go down here and see, Katie. We've got quite a few not yet. There's some yeses for sure that have been to Belize and those that have not. So my question for those that have not, when are you booking that plane ticket? It's time to come to Belize. So let's talk about a little bit about why Belize. Katie, next slide. Okay, so a lot of obvious reasons for Belize. You have easy access from North America. I know for me, that was one of the things, most of my family's in Texas, so it was great that it was, a quick 2.5-hour flight to mainland Belize, and then the quick puddle jumper over. So definitely easy access is something that is making Belize quite popular in the market. You do have English as the official language. So again, for me, that was important. It made, I think, that first move overseas a little bit easier, knowing the language. You also have strong banking laws, low property taxes. I remember the first time I started looking at property in Belize, I kept looking at that number they were showing was the property tax and said, wait a minute, there's some zeros missing, quite a few actually. And they just laughed and said, no, that's correct. And it was very different. I came from Texas where obviously, had some high property taxes. So definitely something that interests people in Belize. You've got the affordable Caribbean real estate. It is English common law. And again, many attractive investment incentives. Of course, the increase in tourism is something we will focus and talk about a little bit more as well. So Belize, as a total population, there is over 400,000. The country size, we say, compared to a state, it's about the size of Massachusetts. And again, the Belize dollar, it's 2 Belize dollars to 1 US. So it makes the conversion very easy. Of course, I still find myself doing the math in my head a lot, but it makes it very easy, the 2 to 1. One of the things, and I think, Katie, you can talk about this too. I know for me, I loved the diversity here in Belize. You see the vibrant colors and the different culture. You've got the Creole and the Garifuna and of course the Mennonite communities. And so I'm sure you've witnessed some of that too. What are some things about the diversity that you like, Katie?
Yeah, especially visiting the mainland, you really do get to see a lot of the areas where the communities are, mainly Garifuna or Mennonite population as well. I spend a lot of time in the southern portion of Belize, and Hopkins Village is actually where the original Garifuna settled. So I've had a lot of experiences down there and being immersed in the culture. That's what I really love about the island in particular is everything comes together in one here.
Right. No, I totally agree with that. And I love just seeing, the different costumes and the different things and hearing the different dialects and the language, everything. It's very exciting.
All the holidays, we get to celebrate a lot of different holidays.
Exactly. Fascinating to learn about them for sure. So when we talk about Belize, and especially from, an investment standpoint, which, we really view people, we either have, they're looking for an investment side or we have the lifestyle side. But from an investment side, we really like to look at this chart here, and it really is talking about the emerging market. So as you can see, on the upper top portion of this chart, you have Cancun, you've got Costa Rica, Panama, obviously products that are in a mature market. They may cash flow, but obviously they're more expensive, properties at this point. Down in the lower part, we have El Salvador and Honduras and Nicaragua. So those are really considered an emerging market where you could have higher levels of appreciation. And I like to say Belize is right in that sweet spot right now. So definitely it's the right time, the right place to invest in Belize. Okay, so back to this island, Ambergris Caye. This is a key number that I always emphasize. It's more than 70% of the tourism revenue for Belize is generated from our tiny island of Ambergris Caye. Again, more than 70% of tourism revenue. So that's important again from the investment standpoint. We're seeing tourism has come back. I know Katie and I, we've had this conversation many times here recently, but during the holidays, it was exciting to see the traffic is back. The traffic, which is kind of funny to say with the golf cart traffic, but we're excited to have people back on the island and see tourism coming back. It's been an interesting year with the the COVID and everything going on, but it's a great time for Belize. We're seeing flights coming back in. A lot of airlines are adding flights, so definitely exciting time. There on the map, I just want you to see there are 6 districts in Belize, and we're going to kind of highlight those, but just keep that in mind. There's 6 different districts of Belize that we're going to talk about today. Okay. So I hope you were paying attention. I hope you listened. I tried to make it pretty easy. So find that Q&A. How many districts does Belize have? A is 8, B is 6, and C is 7. Let's see who's awake. If you're not, we're going to have to wake you up. Okay, there you go. Okay, I'm hoping everyone gets this right. Oh, we had a few that need to wake up. Okay, great job, everyone. Most people are listening, so that's awesome. Again, there's 6 districts, and let's kind of jump in and we will talk about the different districts. So first is Coruscant. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about each one. There you've got an organization called Wild Tracks. You'll see the picture there. It's awesome. These are some of the different areas: Sardineja, Coruscant Bay. This area is known for boat making. So you'll see some of the beautiful boats over there in this area. Then we have Orange Walk. Now, Katie, anytime jump in, because I know you've been to mainland some just like I have. So if there's areas that you've been to and you have some personal experiences, definitely jump in and share those with us as well.
Absolutely. Well, I would say Orange Walk, I think they're famous for their tacos. So even if you're on the island, you'll see a lot of stands, and they'll claim that they have the famous Orange Walk tacos, but I don't know if they're exactly the same as when you get them in Orange Walk.
Okay, that's good to know. Awesome. There you go. It looks like they're making some things there. You do have a lot of the sugarcane production there in that area. And then, of course, Lamanai, a lot of the Mayan ruins are there as well. And then in the Belize district, guess who's in the Belize district? We of Ambergris Caye are in the Belize district. Of course, the Philip Goldson International Airport is in the Belize district as well. And again, we are excited to see the more flights coming back in. You've got puddle jumper flight from Belize City to Ambergris Caye. So that's how I fly. It's like a quick 15-minute tropic flight. I tell people, some people are a little nervous sometimes about the puddle jumper if they're not, big into flying, but I said it's one of the best flights you will ever take. You fly low, and as you can see, you've got just magnificent different variations of blue, and it's so clear. Sometimes you can see some sea creatures. When I was coming over to mainland today, I just sit there and stare out the window, and I'm always taking pictures. I always take kind of this picture up in the top corner with the tropic air. I always take one of those pictures every time I fly and post it, because it just makes me really happy. So
absolutely. So, right there at the airport, it's really easy to just go through customs, walk into the next portion, and get on your tropic air flight. You can also come over to the island on the water taxi. It's about an hour and a half. I mean, it's always fun to do that at least once, because then you're on the water, you see a different view, but hands down, you're definitely right there, Leslie, that flight is just breathtaking. You can see the barrier reef and all the just different shades of blue. I didn't know there were so many shades of blue.
No, I agree. And while we're kind of talking about this, Kate, let's just take a moment, because right now, people that maybe have not visited Belize before and they're looking to travel to Belize, we had kind of 50-50 when we did the poll. Coming in right now, let's just kind of talk about coming into the airport. So you do have to have a PCR test within 96 hours, or you can do the antigen test to come in within, I believe it's 48 hours now. If you don't have it, they do have testing at the airport. It's $50 US. So basically, when you get off the plane, they've got it. The process and system is so easy. I just did it, a few days ago. When you come in, if you don't have your test, then you split to a different line. If you've got everything in order, they check your paperwork. You go through customs, you get your bag. And again, like Katie said, you go to another area if you're going to go tropic or Maya over to the island, or you can exit out and catch a taxi to go over to the water taxi. So either way, I've done both ways. I want to get there quick, so I'm a 15-minute kind of girl on the puddle jumper myself. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so there is our Baron Bliss Lighthouse. We have the Belize River Valley, and of course the Belize Zoo. Now, I love going to the Belize Zoo. It's a very different experience. It's not like the zoos in the US. You can see there the animals are just, it's more like they're in their natural environment. So I don't know, is it, there was one of the jaguars, I forget the name, but just a stunning creature. I could have sat there and just watched them all day. Katie, what about you? What are some of your things about the zoo that you love?
Well, absolutely. Like we were saying with the Belize Zoo, it's more like the humans are in the cage and the animals are able to be in the natural habitat. So it's much different experience. Hands down, I always recommend that when you're coming to the country for the first time. It's, you know, all ages. It's an all ages activity for sure.
I totally agree. Awesome. Okay, let's carry on. Let's go to the Cayo district. Have you been to Cayo before?
I haven't been to Cayo, but I do. I mean, everybody that always goes there on the weekend. So it's on my bucket list. Definitely coming up shortly. I'll be over there exploring.
Oh, okay, awesome. So let's go in and talk a little bit about the Cayo district. You do have that as where Belmopan is. So you've got Independence Hill, you've got the markets. That is where the main immigration is. So if you have to go or do things for residency or things like that, then you would go there to Belmopan. But there's a lot of things to explore in the Cayo district for sure. Zip lining, cave tubing, if you're more adventurous, those are some great things. The horseback riding, and of course, the fresh produce market is probably some of the highlights for that area.
Absolutely.
Okay, and let's see which district we're going to go to next. Okay, so Stann Creek. Now I will say this is one area that I have not explored yet. What about you, Katie?
Yeah, I've been here. This is where Hopkins Village is. And again, Hopkins Village is where the original Garifuna settlement began. And so you do find that large population, that culture is still very much alive. It's more of like a fishing, well, I mean, all the coast is really a fishing community, but it definitely has that small town feel. Everybody, when I was there, was out on the streets, hanging out, talking to their neighbors. Kids were playing football together. So it really had that sense of community. There was a lot going on. And one thing I truly love about Belize is all the cultures, but the people. The people really make it what it is. And you really feel that when you're in Stann Creek area and Hopkins Village. I like to say it's one of those places where if you ask somebody how to get somewhere, they're more likely to show you than tell you how.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay, so you've got a sugar mill. Now, I don't know, that gelada there at Placencia looks pretty amazing. I would probably want to try every single flavor there. And then, yeah, so Hopkins, I have heard, I know people and friends that have done the bioluminescence tour and they say it's an amazing experience. So I definitely, that's on my to-do list to experience that as well.
No, absolutely. And I have had the gelato and it's delicious. So they'll let you sample a little bit if you can't pick your flavor. But definitely stop in and try at least 2 flavors.
That's awesome. I love it. Okay. Okay. Off the coast there, you've got Thatch Key, which another to-do list for me. I've been eyeing that beautiful island. I hear such great things about it. You have Southwater Key, which I know a lot of my friends go there as well. And again, definitely a place to explore. And then King Louis Island. So I've seen a lot of my friends that go and pictures of there, but I haven't had a chance to explore that island as well. But it looks like a lot of fun to me just by the picture. So definitely would like to add that to my to-do list as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's a tiny little island and they really only have about 4 cabanas to rent. So you definitely want to check in and make sure there's some availability before you take the boat ride out. I mean, it would still be a beautiful boat ride, but limited accommodations on that island.
Very good. Okay, so let's go down to Toledo District and see what there is to do and explore there. Chocolate Festival. Now you're talking my language. Anywhere that there's chocolate and a whole festival, I am in. That is not any. And what month they do the chocolate festival. Do you happen to know, Katie?
I don't offhand, but I do know that when you go down there year round, you can visit one of the chocolate factories and they do make their chocolate the traditional Mayan style. And you can go in and make your own chocolate. So you can add different flavors and give it your own little twist. So that's year round. The chocolate festival date, I will look into that and we'll definitely let everybody know who's a chocolate lover. Just reach out to us.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And of course, as in a lot of areas in Belize, obviously known for fishing. So if that's something that you love to do, then Belize is definitely somewhere that you would want to travel. And then bird watching, another thing, I think most of Belize, I know we have a lot of bird watchers that come in, and I definitely a novice. I don't know anything about it, but it's been interesting to see and learn about the different birds and the different locations for sure.
Hey ladies, it's Rachel. I can jump
a
in.
beautiful
Hi everyone. Oh, it looks like, sorry, Leslie, a little bit of overlap. I do know when the chocolate festival is. It's usually over Commonwealth Day, which is in May, towards the end of May. So just a heads up there for everybody who loves chocolate, wants to check it out. There's just so many cool festivals in the country. There's also a mango festival. We have Costa Maya on the island. But sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there. I was just wanted to look out for my fellow chocolate lovers out there.
Oh, that's awesome. May, put it on our calendars. We're going to all be looking it up and get the dates on the calendar for sure. Of course, rum, if you come to Belize, you're probably going to have some rum. It's definitely a highlight here. Okay, so let's talk about Ambergris Caye. Obviously, Katie and we could talk for hours about Ambergris Caye. So let's jump over and highlight some of the things we love.
All right. So I can jump in here, Leslie, and talk about the island. So that's where I'm currently located. My background picture is actually the reef right there on the front side of the island. Definitely, like Leslie was saying before, 70% of the tourism revenue for the entire country comes in from this tiny little island. And when you come visit for the first time, you'll see why people continue to come back. So here on the island, I'm actually located at Grand Bayman Gardens today. This is a great community just 2 blocks off of the beach. It's also a quick walk to town. So in the island, you have the center of town where you have all your shops and little restaurants. That's where Tropic and Maya Air are. So you'll definitely land in the heart of San Pedro town and then find your way, north or south. So Grand Bayman Gardens is a quick 10-minute walk. So 10-minute walk. I've done it a few times. So 2 blocks over to the beach and then a little quick 10-minute walk into town, all on the beach. Very beautiful. So here I love the pool. I was actually sitting outside today and they had the water aerobics. I know you've done the water aerobics before, Leslie.
I have. Yes, I was a loyal member for a long time and people they kind of used to laugh at me. You go to water aerobics? I'm like, I do. And it's a lot of fun. Eileen teaches it. I saw her over there earlier today and waving and seeing a lot of friends. I was like, I have to work, but I was waving at everybody. So the pool over there, as you can see, is beautiful. We've added a lot of things. You can see down in that bottom corner over there, we've added a pool bar, swim up pool bar that's about to open. So that's going to be fabulous for sure. But definitely a beautiful setting. You've got the gardens. It's very lush. There's a food shack there. So definitely a great space. Absolutely.
And this is the little snack shack. So you can get some good food here and obviously a little cold beverage. So you can sit by the pool and enjoy that. It's really centrally located too. So it's right by the pool area. Also on this property, we have a fitness center. So that's something that is not common for all of the resorts here on the island. It's called the San Pedro Fitness Club. And you don't have to live or be residing at Grand Bayman Gardens. You can purchase a membership to enjoy that gym as well. And we also have a tennis court and they added lines for pickleball. I've personally never played, but I do know it's growing in popularity. So it's something I'm definitely going to have to look into and try at least once. But again, this is all right here on the property.
I will tell you, Katie, that today when I was walking around, I was trying to get some updated pictures and video footage and stuff of the gym. The gym was hopping. Of course, it is first of the year, so everybody's making their New Year's resolutions, but the gym was crowded. But I was excited to see that one side of the court, people were playing tennis. But then again, I don't know pickleball, but I'm assuming it was pickleball because it was different rackets and things. So definitely, I think it's becoming quite popular. I see it on a lot of the Ambergris Caye expat groups, people asking about it and talking about it, and they want to form leagues. No,
that's awesome, Leslie. So when you come back to the island from the mainland, we're going to have to get together and try at least one round. I need a partner.
There you go.
Absolutely. So here at Grand Bayman Gardens, and it really does hold true to its name, like Leslie was saying, around the pool area. It's very lush. There's a lot of greenery. The gardens are continuing to grow. We're adding little water features as each phase comes along. There's 4 existing buildings here on the property. And then we have our fleet building, which will be done, I believe, at the end of the month or beginning of February. And then we're getting ready to break ground on the galleon. So if you haven't, been familiar with ECI development, we do have some information we can send over to you. I have a little email address that will come across in the end, webinar@ecidevelopment.com. You can always reach out with more information. I know the fleet building is sold out, but the galleon that we're breaking ground on soon still has a couple studios and a 1-bedroom available. And then we're going to be moving forward eventually with our harbor building. And this picture right here is an example of an existing condo here, one of our existing buildings. So moving forward, we have a lot of really vibrant condos we can offer you. And so in the brochure we send over, you'll get to see the new renderings. Very similar, with the concrete structure, tile floors, but the new galleon building, I really am excited for just the warm feel that all the renderings and design has. And then the Belize Marriott, this one is very exciting. For all of you who have been following ECI development, you've probably heard us talk about the Belize Marriott coming very soon. And we are proud to announce that we're breaking ground this Friday, January 14th. So this property is actually on the beach. It's 2 blocks from Grand Bayman Gardens. So it's really centrally located in town. And that's one of the highlights of the property, amongst many other ones, is the location. So not only do you have that beautiful ocean view, but you have the location and some great amenities as well. And so real quick, we'll go into some of the designs of the Marriott. So if you're a Marriott member, you definitely know the quality that comes with it, and you know what to expect, that the luxurious feel. It feels like home as well. So with the Marriott residences, it really does bring that concept together. So on the property, there's 2 pools. We have one that's going to be family friendly, and then an adult only pool. And then again, there's going to be a dive shop. We have a pier that's already set up there, and then a bar restaurant. The building itself has 5 floors. On the 6th floor, there's no residences, but there will be a restaurant bar area. So you'll have views of not only the great sunset, but of the barrier reef as well. And also on the property, one thing that's truly unique to the island is a conference center and large space for people to gather. So here on the island, we really don't have that. We can't bring in dive conferences. We can't bring in those large groups. So that's going to be a huge attraction on this property. And I really can't wait. I really can't wait for the dive conferences. I know that's coming soon. So for anybody who hasn't visited the island before, the barrier reef runs parallel to Ambergris Caye, and it's actually the largest living barrier reef in the world. And so with that, there's amazing dive opportunities. We're also very close to the Blue Hole. So I haven't been diving there yet either, Leslie. That's also on my bucket list. But that is a world-renowned dive site for folks, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard of that one before. So there's a lot of opportunity for bringing in those conferences for the divers. Yeah, so some of the things I just mentioned right there: oceanfront pools, our sunset lounge, the dive shop, and that spacious conference room. One thing I didn't mention is that fitness center. And so again, with the Marriott, they have a lot of standards that we have to follow with their name. And the fitness center definitely has to have a view of the ocean as well. And so as I mentioned before, breaking ground this Friday, we have our co-founders and all the team here on the island. Leslie will be back on Friday, and we're going to be breaking ground. If you can make a quick trip this weekend and you want to come down to Belize, I know there's still flights available. So come on down and join us. If not, we can definitely send you pictures. I know I'll be taking plenty of pictures and videos. I'm truly excited for breaking ground and seeing this project come to fruition. And so here on the island, I'll go over a few of the activities. Obviously, one that we already mentioned is fishing and getting out, diving and being on the water. When you come to Ambergris Caye, hands down, that is the #1 activity you have to do in some form. Either go out and do a sunset cruise or go fishing. And usually when you do your little fishing tours, they'll do a beach barbecue. Really get to experience that, snorkeling or diving, but really that's the highlight. And as we mentioned before, there's a lot of festivities. Everybody here they love to celebrate. Belize is a place of just, celebrating life, but also we have our Lobster Fest coming up. I know that's a huge one. For you folks who want to come down and maybe you don't like the rum, we do have Wine Divine, and they have a little social gathering. So you can go get your wine and enjoy that here on the island. Costa Maya comes up in August, and then we have Carnival in September. Those are just a few. There's definitely lots of other celebrations happening here on the island. Well, any day is a celebration, I guess.
Katie, I want to hear so out of those, which ones have you experienced and what's your favorite?
So I got really lucky my first visit. I didn't know, but Carnival was happening. And so Carnival here is a little bit different than when we think about, we always know about Brazil, but here they do this, I don't even know what it was, but you paint yourself. Not even yourself, but other people. So it's kind of, I think, a chalk mixture. So everybody's walking around. You definitely want to make sure your hair is covered. Somebody luckily told me to do that. They gave me a little bandana because I can only imagine what it would have been like to get that out of my hair. But then after the celebration, and the park area and the main front of the island where the water taxi comes in, everybody gets into the water and washes the chalk off. So then you have a rainbow right there on the beach in the park. So I got very lucky to experience that.
Yeah, I've obviously been a part of that too and seen that, but I do love going to Wine Divine and the socials that they have. But for me, because I'm an ex-pageant girl, Texas pageant girl in the Miss America system, so Costa Maya, when they had that the first year, my friends were like, "Oh, you have to go be an ex-pageant girl." So it was awesome because you have, Miss Panama and Miss Nicaragua and all these different girls came in to compete, and they had it there on the island, and the costumes were just amazing. So that was probably a highlight for me.
Definitely. So many vibrant colors, not only with the ceremonies and celebrations, but just the structures and the buildings here on the island. You have the turquoise water and just so many vibrant colors that you get to see. And then community outreach, even the ECI development has been active here on the island for over 20 years. And so with that comes a lot of community responsibility, and we really do focus on that. So we do a lot of donations. I know just over the holidays, we did a huge donation to bring toys to kids. So I know a few kids in the community, and I got to see how excited they were to go pick up their toy. They made sure to tell me about it. So it was really exciting to see. Some of the other things we do are, housing volunteers and school supply drop boxes. If you're coming into the country, you can always bring school supplies to donate. That's one thing that they even, I think, have on the tourism board list to bring that in. You won't be charged due to your tax on it. Just, you can bring in any supplies. And then most recently, I was reading that they're asking to bring in donations for pet supplies. So things like collars and leashes and shampoos, stuff like that. ACE's Wildlife Rescue is another outreach that we work with. And so we do have a tiny home community that's going in on the west side or the bay side of the island. And so we really worked with ACES to make sure that we were being, friendly to the environment. And recently, I know Rachel was involved in this, going out and planting some of the mangroves. So mangroves are really essential to the ecosystem here. It not only cleanses the water and the air, but it really, I think, does a great job of keeping, the island. Our iguanas live in the mangroves. So you'll be able to go out in a boat and you'll see the iguanas just sunbathing. And if you've never seen these iguanas, I like to call them Godzilla because these iguanas are so much bigger in person than you could ever imagine. The bright green and the orange, and you can definitely see them sunbathing. We also have, I know it's not on one of the slides, but one of the places I do like to go to is the little wildlife center at the back of town I think was one of the first, preserves for the iguanas. And you can go there. I like to take some bananas with me, and the iguanas will come out of the tree and almost eat the banana right out of your hand. I'm a little scared, so I definitely will just lay the banana down and watch them eat. I don't let them eat on my hand, but I've witnessed it, and it's quite the experience. So there's a lot of opportunity for outreach here as well.
And let's go ahead and talk about the crocodiles. So many people that haven't been to Belize, maybe they don't realize, but we do have, the saltwater crocs, and it's fun. For me, it was fun. Like when you're living there and things, especially when you're on your way out to Secret Beach, you see some of the crocs. And ACES does a really great job of educating, the community and the children, the school children about, living with crocs safely and how to do it. And we obviously want to take care of them as well. So it's always exciting for me to learn more about crocodiles, but to see them and catch a glimpse of them as well. ACEs also, they pretty much, I'm amazed when you're watching their social media. Sometimes they're rescuing birds and just about anything they could rescue. They do such a great job there on the island for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now we're going to get into one of my favorite subjects, the
Mine too.
must eat on the island. I don't know about you, Leslie, but when I first moved here, I had the excuse, well, I have to try it because I haven't tried it before. So I think I sample a little bit of everything.
I love it.
And so Elby's Kitchen, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the oldest restaurant on the island. And so I don't know if you can see in this picture, but it's really, I would call it one of the finer dining establishments. But if you look at the floor, it's still a sand floor. So it really just holds true. And they do have quite a different selection. They vary their menu from day to day. There's always specials. But I do know that this is one of the hot spots. So again, if you're coming in during one of those times and this is a must eat for you, make sure you get a reservation and stop in there. Estelle's Dine by the Sea. So this is at the front of the island. You have nothing but unobstructed view of the barrier reef and you're right there on the ocean. I go to Estelle's probably 3 times a week. It's one of my favorite spots and it's just a locally owned quality food though. You just go there and enjoy. And it's a huge mix of, tourists and locals. It's just a spot for everybody.
Yeah, it's definitely for me. It's one of those Sunday brunch kind of places with my friends and have a couple mimosas and just sit there right there on the water. It's a beautiful place. It's right off Central Park. So the center of San Pedro.
Yeah, and actually I just saw the owner of Estelle. She's here with her family, or some of her family members are visiting the island and they're staying here at Grand Bayman Gardens. So I don't usually see her outside of the restaurant because she's always working. So I made sure to say hi and let her know that I'm glad she's taking some real rest because it's much deserved. Another one of the local spots here that I think is really unique is Hidden Treasures. And it really holds true to its name. It's a hidden treasure. It's on the southern portion of the island, a little bit off the beaten path. But you can see here, it's an amazing atmosphere when you get in and enjoy. And then El Fogon, this is probably another one of my top restaurants that I eat at least once a week. They do traditional Belizean style food over the fire hearth that you can see here on the right side. I know one thing that I always get is their curry chicken and their whole fried fish. And the last time I got the fish, they let me know they only had large ones and I wasn't quite ready for this, but it was definitely a fish bigger than my head. But it still, had the same quality. It was delicious. I would definitely put this one at the top of the list of places to try.
Absolutely. It's a must do for sure when you're on the island.
And then we have the Black and White Garifuna restaurant. So this one is a little bit more of an interactive restaurant. It's also a cultural center. So the Garifuna, as we mentioned before, originated here and settled in the Hopkins Village area. And so the owner of this establishment, the family run the business. Grandma and sister are together cooking in the kitchen. And then we have the grandkids out there serving the food. And they also have drummers. So when you go there on the weekend for dinner, you'll definitely see some drummers and dancing. And if you're brave enough, you'll get up and learn some dance moves with them. They'll definitely coax you out there and show you how to celebrate the Garifuna way. And so if you've been on one of our webinars before, you know that we are all about resources. And so ECI Development has definitely done a great job of providing and creating a lot of content and resources. The Belize Handbook, I know Leslie's heard me say it a million times before. I love the handbooks. It's just a really easy read. The marketing team did a great job of putting together a lot of little details that we don't really go over in all the webinars because there's so many details to go over. So it's a nice quick read as well. You can you can ask for this at webinar@ecidevelopment.com. So any other questions that come up, we definitely have some time to go in our Q&A section and answer them for you now. But if we don't get to it and a question comes up later, just take a minute to write down that email address and reach out to us at webinar@ecidevelopment.com. Okay, and so this weekend, like I was mentioning, we are not only breaking ground on the Marriott residences, but we also have our Belize Discovery Tour happening. So Leslie is currently on the mainland because there's a Live and Invest Overseas conference happening. And then some of the folks have registered to come on over to the island afterwards, hang out with us and really do a little bit of a discovery. So with our discovery tours, there's quite a mix. There's a lot of fun things. It's not just sitting around chatting. I know the scavenger hunt has been a hit. So you definitely have a lot to learn. We'll take you around the island. Not only that, but you get to really just ask the international experts, all the questions you've been, wanting to know. I know that this is a short, announcement on the 14th through the 16th. If you're just now on the webinar, we do have another Belize Discovery Tour coming up in April. I don't believe I have the dates on those yet, but we'll definitely be able to follow up with you if you want to join us.
Yeah, and Katie, let's keep in mind too, let's remind people we do have a virtual component, and we try to do that for most of our discovery tours now. So any of our countries, it's the same thing. We add that virtual experience. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely let us know.
Absolutely. Thank you, Leslie. That's definitely a great option for those of us that, can't travel right now or, don't have that weekend free. All right, and here's a map of the island. So like we were mentioning before, Ambergris Key, this is right here where the Marriott is the front side of the island. We like to call it the reef side of the island as well. And then just 2 blocks from the Marriott is the Best Western. So both of these locations are really close to town, and I can't say it enough. I actually live 1 block from both of these locations. So for me personally, I just wanted that ease of access to town. And that's really one of the highlights of both properties. And then just a quick boat ride to the bay side of the island. We have our tiny home community, the Tess Village. That's an over the water bungalow community that's just almost done with construction. I think we're getting pretty close to phase 1 being done. So definitely reach out and ask for some photos. I was really impressed the last time I was there, how quickly everything was coming together, but truly a unique experience to have the over the water bungalows. And then here we have our team. I know Leslie mentioned before, in the background, we have probably about 100 staff members that are really working to make sure we can offer you all the information and provide you with anything that you need. But this is our team. Some of you probably are familiar with these faces. And if you have just reached out to us and haven't been assigned a property consultant, don't worry, you'll be assigned somebody and they will be your point of contact to give you all the information you need to explore Belize or any of our other properties. And so go back to that Q&A section and type in any questions that you have. We do have a few minutes here where we can go over some of the questions. If we don't get to all of them, we'll make sure to follow up with you.
Okay.
All right, looks like Susie says she's coming down to Belize in February. Susie, make sure to let us know what time you get in, and if you need any help with accommodations, we'll be happy to show you around, recommend any places to stay, and then things to do and things to eat.
Yeah, so Jennifer's asking more about, kind of talking about some of the COVID things. There's not vaccine passports. As far as the guidelines, I had kind of discussed a little bit about the testing to come in. PCRs, I think 96 hours or rapid antigen tests within 48 hours to come in. If you're not able to get a test in the States, they do have testing at the airport. Just keep in mind that if you were to test positive, how they do it is you test and then they send you on your way. So if you were to be positive, then they would call you and let you know. So that would just be a risk you do take if you decide to take your test here. The standards, there are some curfews in place later at night into the wee hours of the morning. Mask, it's, kind of, I think, similar to US, restaurants and things. Yes, once you sit down. If you're exercising, like I, been doing some beach runs in the morning, so obviously you don't wear a mask during exercising, or if you're out on the water, those types of things. But most businesses, when you do enter, you need a mask. So that's kind of the current standards right now on the island.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Elizabeth is asking, how much is the puddle jumper each way? I know it varies depending on the time of the year and how full they are, but Leslie, I don't know. You just made a little trip today.
Did. I can't answer that. So they, I know for Tropic, they've got a couple different price points depending on how many bags you have and that sort of thing. Usually the lower end is around 70 something dollars. Again, it depends how far out, in advance. If you're booking the day or a few days before, like I do, then it's around $5 each way. So that kind of gives you a base idea for that.
Absolutely. And then looks like Nicole is asking, how is the surfing in Belize? So we are in the Caribbean and we don't really have any surfing. You can do paddle boarding. Again, the barrier reef runs parallel to the island. And so that really protects the island from any waves. You don't have a lot of major waves that hit our coast because of that barrier reef. And it's also, can be, shallow in some areas and deep in others, but definitely not a premier surfing destination. But diving, Belize is definitely the diving destination.
For sure, snorkeling and diving. Of course, fishing too. I mean, there's a lot of water activities. I do talk about that too. When we're talking about the barrier reef, for people that go to Turks and Caicos or different places, where the beaches, they're just a little different. We are an island, so you do have seawalls in some places. When you go out to Secret Beach, I tell people, it's a beautiful place to go. We usually try to go on Sundays, on the weekends, but it's really like a large swimming pool. You can walk out to water that's waist deep. You get in, there's tables out in the water. They bring you your drinks and your food, and you fish swimming around at your feet. So it's one of my favorite things to do on the island. So just keep that in mind, and you will definitely love your experience here in Belize, but specifically on Ambergris Key for sure.
Okay, I see Andrea said, talk about golf courses in Belize. How many are there? Pricing, etc., would be helpful. So golf courses are definitely on the mainland. They're at a couple of the different resorts. So you'd have to look into the pricing for the resort and see, maybe it'll vary for accommodations depending on the part of the year, and then ask them if you can just do a day pass. But Andrea will definitely make sure to get that question over to your property consultant, and they can dive in a little deeper for you. Okay, and then Tracy's asking, when will the Marriott be open? So the construction begins this Friday. I know I've mentioned it before, I just can't talk about it enough. And there is a 2-year build time on that property. It's one of the largest single standing resorts is going to be on the island, 202 keys for that. ECI development is going to be retaining 60% of the residences. So there are limitations on what's left. I think there's about 23. I'd have to double check that. Residence is still available, and then definitely reach out to us. We can go into a lot of details. There's many different options to choose from. So we wouldn't be able to send or put it even all in one PowerPoint because there's about 14 or 15 different floor plans. So we can definitely dive a little deeper into that for you as well with your property consultant.
Okay, KFC, we have Terry and Michael. We got more, kind of talking about the COVID measures and restrictions and different guidelines. So I hope we've answered those. But if you have other specific things that we did not address, again, reach out to your property consultant. We're all here. We've been here. We know entering the country what to expect and what to expect once you're here. So again, if we didn't address something specifically that you wanted to know, just reach out and we'll do that.
Absolutely. And then Chad was mentioning, can we get the email address one more time before closing? So I know it's right down here at the bottom of the screen. I'll just make sure everybody has that again, webinar@ecidevelopment.com. And you can just send all the general questions, or if you think about something after the webinar that you didn't think of right now, make sure to send it over.
Perfect. Let's see. I see some more masks. We kind of talked about that. So again, if there's any other specifics that you have questions about, we've done the Marriott. I'm trying to go through here. Yeah, so the tiny home community we do, that's what we call our test village. So again, if you want detailed information on that, definitely reach out and let us know, and we'll send you over the brochure so you can see the different floor plans and things, and some updates on the pictures. I'm excited. I haven't got to go over there in a little while. I've seen some of the picture updates, so I'm hoping in the next few days, once I get back over to the island, to be take that little boat ride over. It's awesome, and get to see the progress that they're making.
Absolutely. And I always like to mention Coconut Cafe. It's another one of my favorite places just to stop in and eat. Not only because my cousin is cooking there, it's actually my partner's cousin. So I always get to see family, but it really is a cute little over the water restaurant. You can stop in and then go see our test community as well. And then let's see.
I'm
Some
looking.
questions are coming in.
Yeah, here's one. Which currency is preferred, the dollar or Belize currency? Yeah, they accept both. Again, it's 2-to-1 is the ratio, but you can use either. We really recommend if you are using US dollars, usually the lower bills, ones, fives, tens, 20s is the best. There are ATMs, especially on the island, all over the place. So it's an option as well if you don't want to be carrying a lot of cash in. But and of course, a lot of the mom and pop and the little smaller restaurants and things, they obviously appreciate using cash versus the credit cards. But most places on the island do accept credit card. So again, you can use dollars or Belize. So no need to really do an exchange or anything like that.
Okay, and there's a question here about mosquitoes. They saw a couple's video online and they said the mosquitoes were bad. That's a great question. I think that one is very common. It definitely comes up, especially here in the tropics. For me personally, I feel like everything has a season. So there's a mosquito season where, it's about 2 weeks where the mosquitoes are out, but we also have a butterfly season and different birds. So everything does come in waves, the rainy season as well, which I still, love and appreciate that. So the mosquitoes here, I don't have the issue with mosquitoes, but if you're one of those people that no matter where you go, mosquitoes just love you, they tend to know what they like to go for, then you'll definitely want to make sure to pack some bug spray. I, again, personally don't have the issue with the mosquitoes. I think when I was in more of the remote area of the island, which is way up north, so you actually get to a part of the island where there's no more road and you have to drive your golf cart on the beach. I was up there at sunset and I was like, okay, I have a feeling that this is going to be the time for me where they're going to love me. So I got on my golf cart and left before that sunset happened. But again, that was more of the remote area and not in town.
Gotcha. Yeah, I personally, mine's hit or times I feel like they're really loving on me. And then other times of the year, they don't bother me at all. So, once you get there, everybody has their go-to. Certain people think certain bug sprays work better than others. I have a go-to that's a great little shop there called Belizean Breezes, and they have a all-natural bug spray, and it really works well for me. So I just picked up another bottle yesterday. I haven't really had the last few days. I haven't had any issues. So I really think it depends more on the seasons, and of course, some people are like, it's the mosquitoes or it's those things they call them the no-see-ums. There's different names for it. But somebody told me the other night, I don't know if it's true, but I may try it. They said, put a dryer sheet in like your pocket or on you, and that's supposed to deter them. I'm like, well, it's worth a try, I guess. We'll see. I'll let you know if it works.
Let me know how that goes. I haven't heard that one before. I'll definitely have to give that one a try too.
That's crazy. All right, let's see. Oh, here's someone's asking about hospitals in Belize. So that's a question that we do get. I can speak, there on the island, we do have what's called the polyclinic. You've got some private facilities as well. And I've had great experiences there at the polyclinic. I was there on a trip just visiting one time, and I happened to get stung by a bee singing karaoke. Only me. And guess what? I'm allergic to bees. So I was like, now what do I do? My arm was swelling up. I wasn't sure what to do. And everybody's like, you need to go to the polyclinic. And I'm like, well, I don't even know where the polyclinic is. So they got me there. I found it. It was a pleasant experience, as pleasant as it could be going, to the doctor. It was an easy process. So I, definitely recommend if you have needs there on the island, you can go there. On mainland, of course, we do have hospitals and things. So you do have access to healthcare for sure.
Absolutely. I did have an experience where I needed to use a doctor here on the island. And I will say I was, pleasantly surprised. It was a very great experience. It was with one of the private clinics, and the doctor has been here on the island for over 25 years. I know we had somebody that was actually staying at Grand Bayman that had a little bit of an upset stomach, and the doctor actually did a home visit for him so that he didn't have to leave. So that's something that in the United States, I don't really hear about that happening anymore these days, but here on the island, you can still find that, really, again, it's a great friendly culture here.
I completely agree. Okay, let's see what else. We have a few more minutes, so let's see what else. Okay, there was a mosquito.
All right, it's like Stephen is asking about farming investments. Stephen, that would probably be more on the mainland. There's a lot of agriculture that does happen. So when we were going through the different districts, you probably saw that they do a lot of the cacao and then the sugar cane. So that's really where the agriculture is going to happen, or agriculture is going to happen. So besides tourism, agriculture is another big revenue generator for the country. It's, lush tropics. You can pretty much grow year round.
Okay, Katie, I see a couple more. Somebody's asking about, do we think any property will come available in Test Village? So phase 1 is completely sold out, obviously almost to completion, but phase 2, we're working on the permitting and everything. So as soon as we launch phase 2, we can definitely keep you in the loop and get all that information to you. We have another one asking about Bitcoin. Do we accept Bitcoin? So that's something we did not touch on, but we have obviously many forms. We obviously accept cash. We accept cryptocurrency. We do precious metals, so gold, silver, self-directed IRA. So we've got different options. We do have a couple of financing options as well. So definitely you can reach out and ask more questions about that. But Bitcoin, absolutely. Okay. What else?
I see another one right here that thinks this is a great question. Terry's asking, how easy is it to move to Belize? So I know my personal experience, it was actually easy. It was easier than I could have ever have imagined. So again, that's really going to, vary, I guess, from family to family. I'm, one person moving here. So I know if you have kids, there's definitely that different aspect of schools. We do, again, have a lot of resources available. I know one of my coworkers has 2 kids here that are in school. And so we can definitely share with you some of the webinars or little videos that she's produced. But really, Belize, it's pretty easy to move. Then you have different options for residency. When you come into the country at the airport, you'll be stamped for a 30-day visa. If you choose to stay longer than that, which I highly recommend, you can just go back to the immigration office. There's an immigration office here on the island as well, and they'll stamp you for another 30 days. And then with that, you can also stay and live in the country for a year. Only 14 days out of that whole year you can leave, and then you can start applying for your permanent residency. They also have the investor residency option, which is great to pair with the Marriott residences. And with the investor residency, they do require a $250,000 minimum investment into the country. And then the qualified retired persons program as well. That one's a little bit different. I think it goes through the tourism board, and that you do have to reapply. It's a card that you purchase, and then you can bring items into the country, tax and duty free. Just please note that if you are to change your residency status when you're in that program, then you would have to pay the duty and tax on the items you brought in.
Okay, Kirby, I just have to give a shout out because I get your sense of humor. Kirby's like, he's also heard about the dryer sheet thing, but Kirby's also saying, asking, was the bee singing karaoke? I guess maybe. Oh, thanks for the sense of humor. I appreciate it. Let's see. People are asking about internet. Of course, we have great internet. There's different speeds that you can choose, but we do obviously our webinars, our Zooms. A lot of digital nomads are on the island, so definitely you've got good internet service. Let's see. We probably have time for 1 or 2 more is all.
I see 2 questions coming in about pets, bringing your pets in. So the properties that we have here are pet friendly. I know you can bring your pets in, especially if you're coming to live here full time. Just make sure you take a look at the requirements so you have all the documents you need, but you can definitely bring pets. It's a very pet friendly place. I do see a lot of expats moving here. I love when I see a golf cart driving down the street, 1 person driving, and they have 4 dogs in the golf cart.
I will say I entered with well, at the time I had one rescue that I brought from Texas to the island, my little Lizzie, and she made the trip really easy. The process when you get to the airport, there's a form you have to fill out before you enter the country, and of course have their rabies and the international health certificate, some of those things. But then once you enter, it's a very dog friendly place, so I love it. You can take your dogs everywhere. Mine, I adopted another dog there on the island, a Belizean pot licker, so mine love to ride in the golf cart. You've got some great organizations there. Pampered Paws does a wonderful job. You'll see them out with the beach walks and all the dogs. I saw them the other day when I was eating lunch at Blue Water Grill. So I love that it's such a dog friendly. And of course, let's not leave the cats out too. We love the cats too. There's a lot of cats everywhere. And I want to answer for Wayne. One of my clients is on, and I saw Wayne's question. I think I concerned him a little bit about the crocodiles. He's like, are there any crocodiles on the beaches? Don't worry, they're not on that side. They're more in, some of the lagoon areas. So you don't have to worry, Wayne, you're not going to be sunbathing next to a crocodile. It's all good.
Thanks for answering. That was a good one to ask, Wayne. So we are here on the hour. I know there were a lot of questions that we didn't get to. There's a lot of great questions I still see coming in. We'll definitely get back to everybody. They'll follow up with your property consultant. They'll be able to reach out and go a little bit deeper in the questions. And then if you have questions or want to ask for any of the resources, make sure again that you have that email address down there at the bottom. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. This was really fun. My name again is Katie, and I hope to see you guys on the island.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. We hope to see you soon.